let's finish the presidency. All right. Put myself over here from current slide. Let's go. All right. So we left off with the cabinet. The cabinet are members of the executive branch. They run the executive level agencies like the Department of State, the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense on behalf of the president. The job of commander-in-chief is too overwhelming for one guy to do it all. So he may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices. So this is the constitutional authorization for the cabinet. And as I said, they run the cabinet agencies. They'll give the president advice about anything, really anything he asks for, but really what he'd be asking for was advice about things that were in their wheelhouse. So they meet with the president whenever the president wants. There's really no formal requirement laid out for get-togethers. They do get together. It's just if Joe Biden is signing a big piece of legislation and he wants the background of all the cabinet officers standing around him, and then there's to give a sense of gravitas to proceedings. Okay, he might convene a cabinet meeting for that occasion. If we're heading into war, he might meet with the cabinet and talk it over. They're 15 heads or 16, including him, are better than just one. So maybe talk things over. But there's no formal requirements for when they have to get together and what they have to talk about. So depending on the president, as I was saying, these could be very serious meetings where business gets done, self-congratulatory type events, where they all get together in a room and congratulate each other on being the best things that ever happened to the United States. They could really run the gambit. So the agencies and their heads are as follows. The Department of State, Anthony Blinken. Yeah, it'll certainly be a banner day when I get good at drawing on a computer. Department of the Treasury, Secretary Janet Yellen. And Yellen used to be Obama's Fed chairman. Department of Defense, Secretary Lloyd Austin. Now, I feel that it's part of my job as your teacher to try to make you good citizens, or better citizens anyway than you were when you walked into my class. So I want you, and I'm requiring you, and I'm telling you that these three names are going to appear on test 2 and on the final. So remember, I might say, who is the Secretary of State? Okay, it's Anthony Blinken. I might have a big matching thing where I say, okay, on the left it's President, Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of Defense, and then everybody's names on the right side. Whatever Canvas will allow me to do. But you need to know Blinken, Yellen, and Austin. These are high-profile agencies. These are high-profile politicians. They show up on the news quite a lot, and I want you to know who they are. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the cabinet. You do not have to remember the names of these people. In fact, it might be better for your sanity if you just forget all about them. But that was a joke, but I want you to know, how big the cabinet is. And the background here on this slide is the cabinet room. It's where they all meet. So the Department of Justice, this is the only department where the head is not called secretary. It's Attorney General Merrick Garland, the guy President Obama put up for nomination to the Supreme Court that didn't get a hearing. Department of the Interior, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, Department of Health and Human Services. Again, I'm not going to ask you about any of these names except those three on this slide. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Transportation with Mayor Pete in charge, Department of Energy, Department of Education, Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Homeland Security. This was a very recently, by historical standards anyway, this Department of Homeland Security was created in 2005 during the administration of Bush the Younger. So the vice president is also part of the cabinet. It's famously said about the vice president that they're a heartbeat away from having a heartbeat, meaning they're just one step away from being the most important person, arguably, on planet Earth. So she's in there, Mrs. Harris, because this could be, her mess. Very, under any sort of circumstance. So there can be additions or subtractions to this body depending on the administration. So Bush 43's United Nations ambassador was not a cabinet officer. Sometimes in the Democratic administrations they are. Republicans, for reasons we don't need to get into now, are not big on the United Nations as a rule. He gave, though, the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy cabinet rank. So presidents can mix and match. Like President Trump, he had the UN ambassador as part of the cabinet. There's no particular rhyme or reason to it. It's just, whatever the president of the day feels is in the best interest of his administration and the country. So typically the U.S. Trade Representative's also in there, the White House Chief of Staff. That's the guy who really, runs the joint and figures out what will make it onto the president's desk. So it's in everybody's interest that he or she is there too. The DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, and the CIA Director are typically also there. So we're looking at pardons now. Article 2, Section 2. Here you see the traditional Thanksgiving pardoning of the turkey. Now I ask my in-person classes when I have them, does the president have the constitutional authority to pardon poultry? The answer is no. This is just a cute little publicity stunt that someone thought of way back in the day. But anyway, yeah, Reagan, Bush, all of them, lay hands on the turkey. I pardon you as president of the United States, or some words to that effect, and then the turkey goes and lives a great life in a petting zoo somewhere. Now, I do believe that the president could draft the turkey there into military service. I do believe he has the constitutional authority to do that. But I digress. And he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So President Biden came out with his first round of pardons not too long ago. I used to have President Trump's up here until very recently, but I changed it. So pardons can be fairly wide-ranging and done for a variety of reasons. So this is one, Abraham Bolden of Chicago. So he was a former Secret Service agent. He's now 86. He lives here in Illinois. And he was the first African-American to ever serve on a presidential detail. What that means is to be around and protecting directly the president. In 1964, he was charged with offenses related to attempting to sell a copy of a Secret Service file. And they couldn't get him the first time. A hung jury means they couldn't reach a verdict. But he was convicted the second time when there was a second trial, even though some key witnesses for the prosecution, they admitted that they were lying at the request of the prosecutor. That's our justice system. So Bolden was denied a new trial, and he served for years in federal custody. He maintained his innocence. He claimed he was targeted because he exposed unprofessionalism and racist behavior in the United States Secret Service. Now, if you watch this, and I recommend you do, it'll be about Bolden and what happened and Biden's pardoning of him. And this is just from the most recent Justice Department release of pardons. So why might he have been pardoned? Well, he certainly was wronged because he didn't do it, or President Biden didn't believe that there was enough proof that he did what he was accused of doing. Maybe the president felt that he deserved his life back for his service to his country on the Secret Service. There could be a million reasons that go through a president's head as to why they sign a pardon. So this lady, Betty Jo Bogans of Houston, Texas. So she's 51, and in 1998 she was convicted of possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine after she attempted to transport drugs for her boyfriend and his accomplice. And neither the boyfriend or his accomplice were detained or arrested. Real fair. And at the time of her conviction, Bogans was a single mom. She didn't have prior record. She accepted responsibility for her role in the offense, and she received a 7-year sentence. So this lady, I did a little reading about her. She has led an exemplary life since. So maybe President Biden here felt that she had learned her lesson and she deserved her life back. And then Dexter Eugene Jackson of Athens, Georgia. He's 52 now. He was convicted in 2002 for using his business to facilitate the distribution of marijuana in Georgia. He wasn't personally involved in the trafficking, but he allowed marijuana distributors to use his pool hall to facilitate drug transactions. He accepted full responsibility. He pled guilty. Again, maybe President Biden just felt that he deserved his life back, too. This stuff, I mean, I provided a link there. This is the news releases of President Biden signing these pardons are all readily available on YouTube. It's just Biden pardon keywords, if you wanted to or felt inclined to learn a little bit more about it. So we come now to treaties.